Hello, I'm Laura Dorsey, and I'm with Infinite Scholars. Infinite Scholars does one thing and does one thing well. We help send students to college. We do this by in several different manners, but one of the things that we do is that we host a series of scholarship fairs across the country. We host 27 fairs across the country in various cities in the Midwest and the East Coast. The way we're able to do this is that we have an affiliate relationship with between 50 and 100 colleges, actually over 50 to 100 colleges, but that's how many attend our fairs on a regular basis. So today we have one of our premier relationships, the University of Central Missouri, here to be able to talk with us today about scholarships and what they have to offer. So, University of Central Missouri is located in Warrensburg, Missouri. Okay, that's roughly an hour to the southeast of Kansas City. Okay, UCM, as it's known, has a total enrollment of about 11,000 students, with about 9,000 of them being undergraduate students. UCM enrolls students from 45 states and over 60 foreign countries. UCM offers over 150 different academic programs within the area of arts and science, business, education, nursing, aviation, engineering, and the fine arts. UCM's five most popular programs are aviation, business, education, nursing, and criminal justice. UCM boasts one of the most affordable tuition rates in the state of Missouri and also offers in state tuition to every state that borders the state of Missouri. Amazing. Tuition at UCM is just over $8,000 with the total yearly cost, including everything, being around $18,000 before scholarships and financial aid. Students are automatically awarded merit-based scholarships of up to $4,500 per student. Chris Lang is with us today. He will be your presenter today from the University of Central Missouri. He graduated from UCM in 2014 with a professional pilot's degree, and again in 2016 with a master's degree in communication. Chris, welcome to our Infinite Scholars presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Dorsey. I appreciate it. So as Dr. Dorsey said, my name is Chris Lang. I currently serve as the Associate Director of Admissions at the University of Central Missouri. As stated, we're roughly about an hour to the southeast of Kansas City, probably about 3 hours away from St. Louis over on the east side of the state. Our enrollment is roughly about 11,000 students, 9,000 of those being undergraduates. And we have roughly about 3,000 to 4,000 students that actually live on campus in our residence halls. So with our academic programs, kind of the thing that UCM is known for is being able to give students hands-on experience within their program kind of right away as soon as you get in. So as a professional pilot student, whenever I came in, they gave me the keys to a $750,000 airplane the very first day that I stepped foot on campus. And I went flying 3 or 4 days a week, every single week after that until I graduated 4 years later. So every single one of our programs boasts some sort of hands-on experience with it. Our nursing program is awesome. They get to go up to, we have a campus in Lee Summit that's about 30 to 45 minutes towards Kansas City from where our campus is located in Warrensburg, but it has an entire floor on it that is modeled after what you would see in a hospital. So if there's something that's in the hospital that would work on the floor in that hospital, you'll see that replicated in our nursing locations and our nursing labs up at the Lee Summit campus. So there's mannequins that are up there that will talk. The professors can talk through them. They blink. It looks like they're breathing. They actually have a mannequin that gives birth every week. And so students have a wide range of access to those hands-on experiences so that students, whenever you're leaving, you have the opportunity to basically hand over your resume during your job interview for your first job after you leave UCM, knowing that you already have the experience, which puts you ahead of a lot of people just because you don't have to worry, the companies don't have to train you as much because you have a lot of that hands-on experience. You still get some of the in-class theory and all of that, but the main thing is we want to make sure that we supplement that with your hands-on experience with that. Our criminal justice students, we have our own police academy that's owned by the university. Aviation, we have our own airport. Education, some education program students will be in the classroom, shadowing classroom opportunities as soon as their sophomore year while they're here. And there's also like virtual VR kind of things that you can do with classroom management. Lots of cool things that you can do along the lines with that. Our business students actually get the opportunity to start their own business while they're on campus through our integrated business experience program. So that puts many different students from different disciplines in business. So like marketing, management, your sales, your events, marketing and management, puts all of them together and they get to form a real money-making business. They decide on what product they want to sell. They actually go out and market and sell it. And then any kind of profit that they make on that, they donate to whatever charity or organization it is that the class decides at the beginning of it. So awesome hands-on experience there. All in all, our overall job placement rate, or what we call our first destination success rate, because success after leaving UCM for some programs doesn't necessarily mean going right into the workforce after you graduate. So for example, if you're going into like pre-med or pre-vet, typically after you graduate from a 4-year university, you're going to have to go into med school or further your education beyond there, or PT school, or get a master's degree or something along those lines. Our overall first destination success rate at UCM is 94%. It's been over 90% for the past 23, 24 years now. So kind of our hands-on experience-based model of learning is the engaged learning aspect is something that employers really value. And so a lot of our students get to leave and go straight into the workforce or further their education or whatever it is that they designate as success. Most of our students are accomplishing that within 6 months of leaving our campus. A big reason for that is our Career Services Center. So with Career Services, it's a completely free resource for any student who is on campus, and it's also free for life. So after you graduate, say, you know, you're getting ready to retire and you're an extroverted person, you want to go be a Walmart greeter somewhere, you know, our Career Services Center, you can talk to them and they can help you figure out which Walmart would be the best opportunity for you. So the Career Services Center, they help you, they bring, we have one of the largest career expos in the state of Missouri. So with that, we bring hundreds of different employers to campus every single semester so that students can venture around to get internships, for job opportunities, just to kind of build a connection with recruiters that are coming from different companies to kind of get those, get your feet wet along those lines. But then right after that, the next day, we call it our big interview day. So a lot of those individuals will then come back the next day and they will have a sit down real interview with you. They'll film it. And then afterwards, what they'll do is they'll sit down with you. They'll kind of go over the video and they'll say, you know, whenever I asked this question, I was really looking at how you would answer it in this way. Or we're looking for more of this from this response. Or you say, I mean, I'm doing it right now. I talk with my hands a lot. So the Career Services Center can kind of help coach you through those interviews, help you get coached through, you know, grad school. They'll look at your resume for free. They'll look at your cover letter. They'll help you to identify things that you have done, whether that be in high school, during your experience at UCM, that help sell you for the position that you're interested in applying for. If you're interested in going into graduate school, the Career Services Center can help you out with that as well. And that also kind of ties into our advising center. So you get a success team while you're here at UCM. So there's 3 main people that you get assigned as soon as you start. That translates all the way through your time at UCM. So you get a success advisor that helps you with your classes. It helps you map out your 4 years so that you're graduating on time, or your 5 years if you're taking one of our 5-year accelerated master's degrees. And then you have a financial aid counselor that can kind of help you with your bill, help you with scholarships and understanding the financial aid aspect of it, because that can be very confusing at times. And then the Career Services, a career advisor. So you have one specific person that is there to help you, that specializes in the area that you're interested in going in. Another aspect of UCM that I really enjoyed during my time while I was here was the involvement. So there's 230 different student organizations you can be involved with. There's 80 plus different intramural sports that you can participate in. Organizations range from those that are tied directly into a specific major. So like our nursing students have the SNO, or Student Nursing Organization group. That's basically a professional organization that you can be involved with to help build your resume, get into leadership positions that kind of help set you apart from other people that are applying after you leave. But then there's also some organizations that are there just exist straight for fun. So, you know, college can be a lot of work, but at the same time, organizations can kind of help take the stress away. So it's gone away now, but we used to have a mac and cheese appreciation club where all they would do is get together. I think it was like the second Wednesday of every month, and they would appreciate what mac and cheese is, try different recipes, stuff like that. So there's lots of different ways that you can get involved, meet a ton of new friends. That's probably the biggest piece of advice that incoming freshman students can have is get involved while you're on campus. Don't wait. It's an awesome opportunity to meet a whole bunch of different people. You can meet, I played volleyball with somebody during my undergraduate time who lived in Alaska all her life. And so she can speak to being able to see 24 hours of straight darkness. So it was really cool to be able to meet new people from all across the nation, all across the globe. And then it's also a great way to help build your resume to show that, yes, you don't just go to class and you come back and study, you know, you can tie that in and you can have that work-life balance there. So our costs, so typical full year of UCM is going to be just over $18,000. That'll include your tuition, fees, that'll include your textbooks, as well as your residence hall, which is basically where you live, and your meal plan. So it's kind of an all-encompassing cost along those lines. The only thing that's not included, just depending upon if you're bringing a vehicle down or not, is a $100 per year parking pass. It's not required to bring a car down, but any student has the opportunity to. We don't place any restrictions on that. And you just pay $50 per semester or $100 for the full year so that you can have your parking pass along that. And that, again, that cost covers your classes as well as where you live. That includes laundry, that includes the Career Services Center, that includes the rec center. All of the athletic events are paid for through all of that so that you don't have to pay anything extra while you're here as a resource. So whether the tutoring center, the advising center, any of those resources are available for free to students. Scholarships is probably the most important thing and probably the biggest question that a lot of students have going into their senior year. Our merit-based scholarships are based off of your GPA and ACT in school. And so we have a chart, and so you match up your GPA with your ACT score, and that equates to how much money that you would get each year that you go to school with us, with the top amount of that being $4,500, which covers over 50 to 60% of your tuition for the entire year. So that basically helps to take away 2 out of the 4 years of tuition costs for you there. We also have the UCM Scholarship Finder. That is a competitive scholarship website, but it helps you out in the fact that you can submit one scholarship application. It takes you about 20 to 30 minutes to do. Once you hit submit, it will apply you for every single scholarship on that website all at once, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about going and seeing requirements on this site versus this site. You can just submit one application. It'll apply you for every scholarship on that website. There's over $1.5 million each year for students to apply for on there as well. And so we also accept just any and all outside scholarships. So say, for example, your local community is giving a scholarship, you get a scholarship through a specific business or a company or an educational or religious organizations or anything like that. We accept all external scholarships, and everything stacks on top of each other. So it helps to make our school even more affordable for students. And so we will work with students just about any way that we can. We've set up payment plans for students to help pay for school. And so, you know, we want to be able to provide that high quality education without having to place financial stress on you and your family there. So overall, during my time at UCM, I loved it there. Getting involved was awesome. It was a great experience, and it helped set me up for the workplace. I got a pilot's license and instrument rating, and so I still get to go fly just about anywhere and everywhere that I can with airplanes and everything like that. So if you're looking for a university that you can get a great academic experience at, but experience average class sizes that are around 21 to 23 students, then UCM is probably a good opportunity for you. And I would encourage you to take a look and get into contact with us. Come down to take a visit to campus. We can set you up to meet with your academic department one-on-one, as well as talk to your advisor, your success team. You can talk to admissions, and we can kind of help answer any and all questions that you guys have.
All right. So a couple of questions I have. Thank you so much for the presentation. Just a plethora of information that we needed. A couple of questions that I had, the follow-up questions that I didn't get there, or either I've actually missed in the presentation. So when does the application process start for you? What is the deadline for application? And do you have a rolling application? What dates does that look like for our current students and what you would usually do going forward?
Sure. So for current seniors in high school, that application stays open all the way through the first Thursday of classes. So that would be August 15th or so. And so we have rolling applications there. And then for students that are getting ready to go into their senior year, every year our application will open up on July 1st. And so then basically from July 1st, we have rolling admission all the way up through classes starting that following fall. So we don't necessarily have a deadline for admission. We're just rolling admission on that within that regard. Also for this year, for seniors, we've gone test optional. And so students are not required to have an ACT score. If you meet the 3.5 GPA, then there's no ACT requirement there. They're fully admissible with that. And we still also give them a $1,000 scholarship, even if they don't have the ACT score, and that will be the same moving forward. So as far as admissions requirements, if they have a 3.5 GPA, they don't need an ACT unless they're going into a specific program that requires it, which is mainly nursing if they want to go into the direct entry part. And then the rest of it is if they want a higher scholarship than the $1,000 scholarship level.
Okay. Now, Chris, so we're talking about that 3.5 GPA. Is there a provisional acceptance for students who might have a little bit less than that 3.5 GPA?
Yes, absolutely. So our typical admissions criteria for non-test optional students is a 2.0 GPA with a 21 on their ACT. And we do have what we call our Advantage program. It's a conditional admit. It's not probation or anything. It's just a conditional admit that we will take the bare minimum GPA that we're going for is a 2.0. But with the Advantage program, we can look at ACT scores that are lower than our traditional full acceptance. Our assured is a 2.0 and a 21. But the Advantage program can make that 21 get a little bit lower, and we review every single application that comes across our table, and so we will, even if they don't meet the set fast Advantage criteria, if it's close, then we can make a professional judgment based off of that.
All right. So okay, Chris, that's good because that was like part of the questions that we had. When we're talking about what are you looking for when you're looking for a student? I know that a college typically wants a robust group of students that are coming in. What is your typical student, or do you have a typical student that you're looking for?
Sure. So as students that do well at UCM are students that are very interested in kind of creating their own college experience. We like to joke around that college is the most selfish 4 years of your life. You get to experience whatever it is that you would like. You get to study whatever you want within your program. You get to meet and get involved in organizations. So students that are very interested in kind of creating their own college adventure and creating their own college story. Are students that we're really interested in at UCM, but over 60% or 65% of our students are Pell eligible, first generation college students, as well as come from an underrepresented minority. So again, we have a very diverse campus, and so we're looking for students that are super excited and engaging with their faculty and getting hands-on experience within their program, but then also kind of creating their own story basically from college on.
Okay, perfect. Chris, another question. We look at a lot of different universities, and they have a large number of students who apply, but only a certain amount are getting accepted. Okay, so what is your admissions rate for freshman rate and retention rate, and what is your graduation rate? too. I think you talked a little bit about it, but if you could address both of those again for me.
Sure, absolutely. So as far as our acceptance rate, we hover between 75 and 80%, kind of depending upon the year. Most of our students get accepted as long as they apply. We don't have a cap on our incoming freshman class size, so we typically about 40% of the students who get admitted will end up enrolling with us. So our number of students that come down from our applications and admits is about 40% of those that end up getting admitted, but 80% of students that apply will end up getting admitted to UCM. Our first year to second year retention rate, we just launched, we're the first school in the state of Missouri to launch a holistic advising model. And so with that, our first year to second year retention rate was 75%, 74 to 75%. So that's going from freshman year to sophomore year. And then 4-year graduation rate is in the upper 50% range. And that's been increasing since we've implemented some we encourage students to take 15 credit hours each semester so that they make sure that they graduate within 4 years. So to reduce that cost so that 5th year and 6th year get expensive. But we were actually, the Missouri Department of Higher Education actually told us that here this past summer that we are #1 for degree completion in the state of Missouri as far as institutions. So our graduation rate is outstanding. And Missouri Department of Higher Education was we were excited to hear that we were #1 for degree completions in that regard.
Okay, perfect. We talked about your out-of-state waiver for all the states that are surrounding the state of Missouri. Is there an out-of-state waiver for anybody, for any others, students that are coming from any other state?
Yes. So we are a part of the Midwest Student Exchange Program. So with that, students that come from those specified states will pay no more than 150% of tuition. So basically that gives them a 50% off of the out-of-state tuition rate right there. And then we do offer tuition waivers for those based off of our merit-based scholarships. So for example, every single student gets a 25% discount on out-of-state fees, regardless of what state you come from. And then the higher up in the scholarship levels that you go, so we have a $4,500 scholarship level, a $2,500, and then a $1,500 scholarship level. And students that are at the $2,500 or $4,500 get 100% of their out-of-state fees waived. So if you're in the 2 high tiers on our automatic merit-based scholarships, then that will give them automatic in-state tuition as well. And then if they're in that $1,500 or if they're in the test optional $1,000, that gives them 50% off of their out-of-state fees. And then we will also take it down to in-state tuition rate if student comes from a legacy family. So if mom and dad went to college at UCM or got some sort of degree from UCM, we'll automatically give them in-state tuition as well.
Okay. All right. Perfect. We were talking about all these different scholarships and the waivers and things that they have. Is there some place on your website, and I know you'll provide the information for us again to go to the website. Is there any one place on your website that all this information is readily available, so the students and parents can actually go to this and be able to maneuver some of this information themselves?
Absolutely. So ucmo.edu/scholarships will take you straight to the webpage, and it has a cost calculator on there. So you can type in, it'll ask for various information. It'll give you a cost estimate of what it'll cost to go to UCM. There's also a scholarship estimator. So you go and give it the information that it's looking for, and it'll give you an estimate of scholarships that you might qualify for. But then it'll also have the PDF or electronic version of our scholarship chart, as well as other resources, and explains a lot more about our freshman scholarships, transfer scholarships if a student goes to another institution that decides to transfer in. But we try to make it all kind of like a one-stop shop on that scholarships website for students to get just about anything and everything scholarships-wide that they need.
Okay. Now, one of the things that you talked about was the support that a student that's coming to the University of Central Missouri would get. And so I want you to talk to me a little bit about each one of those. So like I wanted to start with the success advisor. To me, and it's not just to me. We do know that the majority of students or whatever who struggle during their first year. Okay, and so it is very important from an educational perspective that that success advisor is very much there and very much hands-on. So can you speak to that success advisor, first, and then we'll go to the financial advisor and then career advisor, but the success advisor first. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was one thing that we've kind of identified at UCM was that the kind of advising model that we wanted to do was going to get overhauled, and so we built a brand new facility for them, and we completely restructured it to a centralized advising model, to where at any point in time a student can walk into the advising center during business hours and they can get any questions answered as far as their classes or different holds on their account, different tests that they might need to take, anything academically that might be holding them up, they can get an answer same day, walk-in appointments for their advising center. They'll be assigned a specific academic advisor, a success advisor along that. But within each advisor, there's a team. And so there's 3 or 4 other advisors that are trained in the exact same thing that student's advisor is going to be based off of. So as a student, I could walk over to the advising center now as a professional pilot student and say, hey, I've got a question about this class. And even if my advisor's not available, I can talk with any of the other advisors. So it makes it really easy because, whenever you have a question that you want the answer to right now, waiting, a couple of days to go and see your advisor, might not necessarily be ideal for you because you're trying to get an answer right away. So you can either email your advisor, they'll email you back by the end of the day, or you can walk in and get help kind of right there on the spot. And then they also have special trained students who are like peer mentors, peer coaches. And so you can actually sit down with a current student that can help you out with some of the advising things. Sometimes students just feel more comfortable talking about other topics with current students. And so you'll have a success coach that'll be there to help you out. Our advising center is very student focused. And so typically we use a lot of data and predictive models to kind of determine, where students struggle the most during their first year. And so our advisors do a lot of preemptive outreach. So typically if you're starting to think, you're sitting in your room and you're like, I wonder when, I need to start enrolling for classes for the spring semester. Chances are you're probably going to be getting an email from your advisor pretty soon after that, so that they can kind of help you walk through. They're not going to do everything for you, but they're going to help guide you along the lines so that you don't have to figure things out on your own, because navigating higher education and navigating college and education in general can be confusing and daunting, especially for students that are either they're going farther away or if they're a first generation student. And so the Success Advising Center kind of has been built to be that support system that can help proactively reach out to you to kind of help you, because you don't know what you don't know. And so they can help you identify those things and just say like, hey, I noticed that you haven't done this. We need to set up a time to talk. And then they'll help you out with that. So that's the Success Advising Center.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the financial aid counselor that's there. We know for a fact that we've talked about some of the scholarships that you have available, but we also know that there is a plethora of scholarships that are available out there and that are not used every year, so therefore no one takes advantage of. So is the financial aid counselor able to help the student and their parent not only navigate UCM scholarships, but any other additional scholarships that might be out there be available for the students?
Yes, very much so. So each student will be assigned a specific financial aid counselor so that you don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel and talk to somebody new and re-explain your financial situation or your questions or anything like that. But yeah, they can help students with they can help them with applying for other scholarships, identifying other scholarships that exist outside of UCM, FAFSA. They can absolutely help students fill out the free application for federal student aid. for loans and grants, and they also help with a lot of financial literacy. So students can kind of help, get the understanding of, what's the difference between a loan and a grant, and what is a subsidized loan versus an unsubsidized loan. A lot of those kind of higher ed lingo for financial aid that it can be difficult to understand. The financial aid counselor kind of serves as that resource for students to be able to be like, hey, I got this email about this. Is this a legitimate scholarship, or what's this grant mean, or what is a loan, and that kind of stuff. And so that individual kind of serves as their one-stop shop for helping with financial aid, as well as identifying other scholarships. And on top of the financial aid counselor, academic programs. I know, like, whenever I was a student, my professors in the aviation realm, like any aviation specific scholarships that would come up, they would shoot an email out to their students and say, like, hey, here's an opportunity for you to get some additional scholarships. And they pass that along to the financial aid counselors as well.
Okay, perfect. That's an excellent. Let's talk about the career advisors. I know that you said, wrote down that 94% of your graduates are placed, 94% of the graduates are placed. Can you tell us some of the major corporations or the major organizations that UCM works with as far as like placing their graduates, and give us a sort of like an overview, just like you did with about the career advisors?
Yeah. So the Career Services Center and the career advisor that you'll have is somebody that's, again, assigned to you based on your major whenever you come in. So it could be going into like marketing, or, if you're going into professional pilot, you'll have a specific career advisor that's assigned to you that can kind of help you out throughout your process. Typically, you'll meet with them about once a semester, and they'll just kind of help map out your 4 years. Saying, hey, here's your career map for the 4 years that you're here. This year you're going to take a university foundations class. Next year you can start looking at different internships that you might be interested in. Junior year, you're going to definitely take some internships. Senior year, here are some organizations. The top 5 kind of employers kind of vary based off of the different programs that we've got. But so for like business, for our accounting students, the big 5 accounting firms are huge with our students. A lot of students get internships and then turn around getting jobs right after that with them. Engineering, we have students that'll go and do things with like Black & Veatch, Burns & McDonnell, any of those kind of places. We always will partner up with them. Education, we have at school, I think the last time College of Ed looked at it, we almost have a teacher in every single school district in the state of Missouri. So we're well known for our education program. Nursing, St. Luke's in the Kansas City area is a big employer for our nursing students. St. Luke's East, Children's Mercy as well for those that are going into those areas. So it's kind of all over the place with that. Aviation, we have partnerships with a couple of airlines, and so students can get hired as a pilot while they're still in school, get put on payroll with that airline and everything, and then as soon as you hit the requirements to go work for an airline, then you've already got a job set up and ready to go. And the Career Services Center helps guide students kind of through that full process, including grad school. So if a student, if they identify their next step in their career journey as going to grad school, getting a master's degree, getting a doctorate, or getting any kind of post-secondary education, the Career Services Center also specializes in that as well. So you can talk to somebody specifically about, hey, I'm looking at going out of state for grad school. I'm looking for schools that specialize in this specific area. One of the students that worked in our office was going through our speech language pathology program. And so after you go through your undergraduate programs for speech language pathology, you go to a master's degree for that. And the Career Services Center was able to help her identify a school here in the state of Missouri that specialized in the area that she really wants to specialize in. Like there was an individual that was like nationally known for the area that she wanted to go to. And so the Career Services Center can kind of help students navigate those next steps after they graduate, or kind of take the burden off of. The last thing that we want is for a student to get to the second semester of their senior year and start stressing because they haven't done anything job-wise. The Career Services Center, much like the advisors, are very proactive in helping students. They have an etiquette dinner. So they'll teach students how to have a professional meal. They have a career readiness course that you can get certified in, and that's something you can throw on your transcript to show employers that you've gone through an official certified career readiness course, and a lot of different aspects with that.
Okay, perfect. That's amazing. Um, we talked about the internships and things with career advisors. Do you have a program where students can study abroad? And if you do, can you speak to that?
Yes. We have a very robust study abroad program. If students come down to visit campus, one of the first things that they'll see when they walk into our visitor center in our building is the lobby is just covered with over 60 different flags, and those are countries that our students have gone and studied in, or that we've received a student from. Probably the most popular area for students to go and study abroad is over in Europe. But we've also had some students go study abroad in Australia, go to the Middle East, go over to Asia, in Japan, China. Students can do that as soon as they hit 30 credit hours grand total. So for most students, if they don't come in with any dual credit or anything, that's after their freshman year. We offer introductory study abroad, so they can go for like a 1-week study tour with a faculty member. Get their feet wet, see if they like it, and then it ranges from 1 week to 3 weeks to a semester to they can go and study abroad all year if they want. For some specific programs, costs and scholarships and everything transfer over with them, so they'll be paying the same thing as if they were studying in Warrensburg. So the cost will be about the exact same with that. And so they can either go to where they're doing like an exchange program, or they can do it to where they are going with their class and they're going for like a week or so and going with a faculty-led kind of adventure there. So, and you can study as long as your credits will keep transferring into UCM and count towards your degree programs. You can study abroad as just about as many times as you would like.
Okay, all right, perfect. One of the things that I noticed that in our introduction that we talked about the fact that UCM is about an hour to the southwest of Kansas City, which I'm presuming makes it a little bit more rural than urban, okay, in the area. So tell me what the student life is like in the surrounding area for the students.
Sure. So yeah, we are a little bit more on the rural side versus more of the urban. But with that comes, we have a lot of like national parks or kind of state parks that students can go into. A lot of outdoor hiking in areas around there. We have a rock climbing group that there's a lot of areas around Warrensburg where they can do that. But then there's also, a lot of different other opportunities to get involved, like outside of Warrensburg. So we have lots of different golf courses. We have disc golf courses. There's a downtown area that hosts like downtown days, or we call it Berg Fest. And so there's a lot of it's basically like a giant street fair, kind of like Oktoberfest, but just in Warrensburg there. So the town is very supportive of UCM, and a lot of the times the students are getting heavily involved within the surrounding area of Warrensburg. And there's also a lake a pond that kind of comes up against university property, and so students can go out kayaking. All that stuff's provided through UCM there. So a lot of outdoor activities for students. And then on campus, we provide all of those different organizations. We also provide all of the different intramural sports. We have like a little convenience store on campus, so students don't have to go off campus to get much. I like to tell students that probably about 80% of the time that you spend at UCM is probably going to be on campus, just because of all of the resources and all of the cool things that you have to do on campus. But that's not to write off the city of Warrensburg by any stretch of the imagination, as there's a lot of stuff that you can do while you're in Warrensburg as well.
Okay. I have a question that's sort of like go with what's going on now, nationally. So what percentage of your classes, or if you do have them, are online classes and online available? And are you focusing in this, and I know all universities are up in the air, Are you focusing more with the on-campus, aspect as opposed to the online aspect of student life?
Sure. So we offer a lot of online different of online programs. As far as the specific number and the percentage, I don't have that off the top of my head, but students have the opportunity to take a lot of online different courses if they want. We have quite a few degree programs that are completely online. And then some degree programs that are technically not considered online, but there's only like one class where they have to come down to campus, and it's like a hybrid, so it can't count as an online program, but mostly it's online. Our president actually just did a virtual forum last week, and within that, he basically, we're focusing on bringing students back to campus. A lot of schools in the state of Missouri, that's kind of their intention, is bringing students back to campus this fall. Unless obviously the virus and everything kind of goes along and changes plans, as it's been known to do here over the past summer and spring and everything. But the game plan is to kind of bring students back to campus responsibly. They're looking at classroom sizes and making sure that everybody can stay socially distant from each other, but still being able to provide that in-person experience.
Right. Fantastic. Chris, I can't begin to thank you enough for taking your time out today to be able to speak to us at Infinite Scholars and to our parents and to our students, your prospective students that they have there. We are so looking forward to that. Chris, is there any final words that you want to say, or in the last couple of minutes that we have? Do you want to make sure that you give the website again for the students, parents?
Sure. First of all, Dr. Dorsey, I appreciate you giving me the time to come and chat with you today about UCM and talk with all the students about it. If students are interested in more information, they can go online to ucmo.edu/admissions. And then from there, that will kind of link them to just about anything. They can go to a campus visit, find out our visit options. They can learn more about scholarships, find their admissions rep, admissions requirements. All of that stuff is just on there. You can also just go to the main website, ucmo.edu, and then in one of the navigation bars, kind of front and center, it'll say future students. And if they click on that, it'll take them to the exact same thing.
Okay, Chris, again, thank you so much. We really appreciate all of the information and all of the efforts that you provided to us. Look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again.